and welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a fun video. I am doing a history video of A Song of Ice and Fire, and I'm going to be talking about mystical creatures in Westeros. So I'm not going to be talking about creatures native to Essos. I will be doing a separate video on that, but do comment below if you'd like to see that soon, and I will definitely try and get it filmed ASAP. But I wanted to talk today exclusively about creatures native or seen in Westeros. Now, I won't be talking about mythical creatures, creatures that only exist in myth, such as griffins. I want to talk about creatures that have been spotted, have been sighted, no matter how long ago. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun video to talk about. I kind of love the extra fantasy elements George R.R. Martin puts into his books. He includes a lot of other elements for fantasy, which I love. And I've got a bunch of creatures that I kind of have written on this side of my laptop that I'm going to be referring to, and I'm going to talk about some quotes about them as well. So yeah, if you do enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, requests, do comment below and I will get back to you. And also feel free to talk about these creatures and we can just kind of talk about them a little bit. So yeah, let's get started. Right, so the first creature I want to talk about is called an Orrock. Orrock. I don't know. I'm going to go with Orrock. That seems the more likely one. Okay, so this creature is called an Orrock. This is a large wild cattle. It is almost extinct through hunting in the Westerosi regions, but is found wandering near the Trident and along the King's Road. They're not really talked about very much because even though they are a mystical creature, because they are bigger than regular cattle, they're kind of pretty average, whereas mystical creatures goes, but they are a basis for symbols of strength and kind of strongness. Not much more, to be honest with you. They're kind of the most average of the mythical creatures, so we'll just get them out of the way. Next, we have a well-known one, which is Direwolves. These are the sigil for House Stark, and these are very prominent in the show and books. These are known to live principally north of the wall, but they can come south, as we saw with the Stark children's direwolf. However, they haven't been known south until the Stark children find them for 200 years. They were driven to extinction in the south of the continent, probably due to hunting and kind of destruction of their habitat. They can be domesticated, as we have seen by the Stark children. They can be used as companions and almost pets, and there are 2 of the Stark direwolf children left, which is a fucking travesty in my opinion. Shaggy Dog, Summer, that shit was wrong. So we have Ghost and Nymeria are the 2 direwolves of Stark children left. Ghost is currently with Jon, though you wouldn't fucking know it because they never include him. And then we have Nymeria, who in the books is currently leading a band of wolves in the Riverland. She's become alpha of this pack, and she is leading this vicious pack of wolves. And I think in the show, Arya is probably going to reunite with her soon, as she is in that area. And to be frank, D&D owes us some direwolf love. They can be used as magical bodies to walk in, as we saw Bran do to Summer, and they are very powerful creatures, sometimes reaching the size of horses, very capable of tearing out men's throats and eating various animals as big as horses. So they're a great kind of animal, very strong, powerful. Then we have dragons, probably even more well known than direwolves, and they are the sigil for House Targaryen, a 3-headed dragon. They were extinct for almost 150 years until Dany's dragons came along, and there are only 3 known dragons left, which are Dany's, Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegar. Though it is rumoured that more dragons are stirring in the ruins of Valyria, as that's where they've been known to be most prominent. George R.R. Martin spoke about the fact that there were so few dragons left, and he said, "There are no more dragons known to exist. But this is a medieval period, and large parts of the world are still terra incognita. So there are always tales of dragon sightings in far-off mysterious places. The maesters tend to discount those." So George R.R. Martin was basically telling us that dragons probably still do exist, and they roam in areas that haven't been discovered yet or are very infrequently visited, probably places such as the Shadowlands that few people go. So I don't think Dany's 3 dragons are the only dragons on Earth. I would argue that's not the case, but we haven't really seen them, probably because they stick to themselves. They can be ridden, but they are very selective about who rides them, as in they must bond. Dany can ride Drogon because, you know, she has always been seen as his mother, and one rider can only ride one dragon until that dragon dies or the rider dies. For example, Dany will never ride Viserion or Rhaegar because there is this immense bond between a dragon and a rider. There was actually these writings by Gildane, and he said, "We shall not pretend to have any understanding of the bond between dragon and dragon rider. wiser heads have pondered that mystery for centuries. So it's a very complicated relationship the rider has with a dragon. And Dany did say to Quentyn Martell in the books, no rider ever flew two dragons. So it is the case that once you are bonded with this dragon, you kind of really can't go for another. Kind of like those things in Avatar. I can't remember what they're called. You know, the things they fly? Kind of like that. That was really bad explaining. Okay, and then we know they are native to Essos originally, and it's rumoured that they came from the Shadowlands. They were discovered 500 years ago in Valyria, and they helped win the Wars of Conquest, and they helped Dany win Astapor, and they are very famous for having burned Harren the Black in his castle Harrenhal, which is now rumoured to be haunted after dragons set it alight. Okay, next we have Krakens, and they are the sigil of House Greyjoy. They are considered a myth by most in Westeros, and House Celtigar apparently has a horn that can summon Krakens from the sea. They are mentioned in A Storm of Swords. Jorah tells Dany the smoking sea north of Valyria is infested with Krakens, and they pull riders underneath. And Varys tells the small council that a Kraken was spotted attacking a ship just off the Fingers. So even though they are considered a myth, they are prominent in the Westerosi world, and it is more than likely they exist. In a chapter from The Winds of Winter that George R.R. Martin released online, Valina Tolland, who is a noble lady in Dorne, tells Princess Ariana Martell that there are tales of Krakens off the broken arm of Dorne. They are attracted to blood and pull ships under. So again, just kind of backing up this theory that Krakens are a presence and they do exist. Next we have mammoths, and again, like direwolves and dragons, we know these exist. They are native to Westeros and used by the Night's Watch to carry heavy loads. They have been ridden by giants and wildlings, as we saw in the Siege of the Wall, and it's theorised that dead mammoths may be ridden by wights or possibly the Night's King. And then the Children of the Forest apparently called on mammoths to fight with them against the First Men, as they did with direwolves. Next we have shadow cats. These are large felines in the Mountains of the Moon in the Vale, and they are seen in the Riverlands as well, but they are mainly native to this area in the Vale. They are hunted for their fur, which is called shadow skin and is often used to make cloaks. In Game of Thrones, Joffrey and Sansa track a shadow cat to its lair, so even though they are very dangerous and very tough, they have long claws, they're very fast, agile and quiet, it is possible to kind of track them through hunting methods. Mountain clans in the Vale often leave the bodies of people they have slain for shadow cats to eat. As though shadow cats can attack people themselves and hunt, they are also scavengers, and often mountain clans will wear cloaks made of shadow skin. Varamir's Six Skins controls a shadow cat through walking. We saw a brief mention of him in the show when he walked into his raven. It's basically said that Varamir can actually walk into 6 different animals, and a shadow cat is one of them. Next we have unicorns. Now, this is my favourite, like, come on. Please do it in the show. Like, please do it in the show. That would be so cool. If Rickon had lived, because in the books he's actually kept with Osha on Skargos rather than with the Umbers, how cool would it have been to see him riding back to Winterfell on a fucking unicorn? I'm so sad that didn't happen. Anyway, unicorns are native to Skargos, and they are believed to be found there, though very few people have seen them. There are tales of them being ridden into battle by the hairy men in Essos, and it's also said that the men of Skargos ride great shaggy unicorns to war. Leaf tells Bran that unicorns did exist, but are almost gone. So yeah, all of these different mystical creatures are kind of considered a myth or have been seen, and then we kind of have ones that are very well known and very prominent, like shadow cats, or ones that are kind of facing extinction, like unicorns. You know, these all different mystical creatures are an amazing part of the series and show, and I hope they introduce more on the show itself, because, you know, it's little things like this that George R.R. Martin does, creatures, geography, banking, that make his books just absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I will be doing one on the native creatures of Essos, then I may do one on completely mythical creatures. If you do want to see those, comment below. I might make this like a tiny kind of 3-part mythical creatures, mystical creatures series. And yeah, I do hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back later in the week with probably another theory video surrounding one of the characters. I've got one planned to do about Littlefinger, so keep an eye out for that. And again, I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Krakens. They are the sigil of sigil, for fuck's sake. Then we have Krakens. They are the sigil of House... Sigil? Fuck me!